Hey guys, D-Bum here. Um, I'm bringing to the table a new build that I came up with that is very, very powerful. Lots of changes in 1.2 regarding casters and witches and ES in general. Um, yes, they did nerf flat ES on, or at least the way armor scraps work on ES gear. Instead of multiplicative, it's additive. So ES gear has less ES on it, but it's okay. There's lots of ES nodes in the tree. You can get around it a little bit. So, I'm bringing a low life crit freeze pulsar to the table. It is a very fun build. I'm having an absolute blast with it. With all buffs and power charges and frenzy charges I get from the build, I can get upwards of 197k shotgun DPS, which is quite amazing for a freeze pulse build. Hasn't been able to be a mainstream build in a long time. It's been very weak. They increased the damage at higher levels, or all levels, I believe. I'm not sure. Didn't really pay attention to the patch notes on that fact. By 40%. They increased damage by 40%, which is very significant when it comes to freeze pulse. So here's the build. I'm going to get into the build. It's a very, very fun build. You don't necessarily need to have a Chevron's wrapping. With the Chevron's wrapping, I'm sitting at 7,580 ES or so. With a Solaris Lorca, which does the same thing that a Chevron's wrapping does. Chaos damage cannot penetrate the energy shield and hit your life, so it hits your energy shield first. Solaris Lorca, I'm sitting at about 5,800 ES. So it's a very, very viable now with the changes to ES in the tree. A lot more ES in the tree. You can get so much more. So here we go. Get into the video and yeah, get to this. The main item I think is very useful for this build is Void Battery. Yes, it's got an 80% reduced spell damage, but with 8 power charges, 1 from the Merciless helping Alira, 3 extra from the tree, 3 that you normally have, and the +1 for using Void Battery, you can get about 140 spell damage, which is quite significant. Get cast speed on it, get mana, get global crit strike chance. It's an amazing weapon. Very, very nice weapon. And I think that it's a very good weapon to get until you can afford something like 100 spell damage, 100 crit chance percentage to spells, crit multi, cast speed, rare wand that is very expensive. Way more expensive than a Void Battery. I'm using a Chevron's wrappings. Not a legacy. It's a new one, whatever you call it. You can get it fairly cheaply, not really cheaply. 70 exalts on standard. I guess that's cheap. I don't know. I'm not too rich on standard, but I'm well off, I guess. 6-link's going to cost you a lot more, but you can use a Solaris Lorca. Solaris Lorca is a very, very viable. I don't even have it in me. Very viable option. It has no energy shield, has a little bit of armor, but it still has the same effect. Chaos damage does not bypass energy shield, which allows us to go low life, stack energy shield, and gain pain attunement, as well as extra auras. So for a helm, I'm using a high ES helm. It's not finished crafted. I got a little cheap cold resistance from the bench crafting. Using a rare shield with some spell damage on it and high ES, some resistances and whatnot. Now my goal here is to get a extra spell damage roll and a critical strike chance for spells shield, which will increase damage quite significantly. Lionized Paws. We're using these because we do not go down to get Unwavering Stance. Stay up in the top part of the tree. Don't go down to Unwavering Stance at all whatsoever. And since we are on low life, it gives cannot be stunned when on low life, which is perfect for any low life build if you can't really get down to the bottom of the tree. It also gives quite a significant amount of strength and dexterity, which we need a decent amount of dex in the build to run haste, and we need a decent amount of strength in the build to run blood magic, cast when damage taken set up with Enduring Cry and Immortal Call. So that's that. Another nice item is a Doriani's Invitation, which drops from Etziri, normal Etziri. I'm using a cold damage one. Increases cold damage, gives a little bit of armor, a nice amount of armor, gives some resistance, and the also important 1% of cold damage leached as life. Using Etziri's Acuity. These are really hard to get now. Uber Etziri's drop rates have changed, so these are the rarest drop instead of the axe. So now these are a little bit more expensive, but there's other options. You don't necessarily need them. I use them. I got it quite a while ago when they were fairly cheap. I use them. The leech applies instantly on crit strike. This is a pure crit build, so I leech instantly all the time, which is very nice. Gives a decent amount of int, which increases our energy shield. It gives a decent amount of armor, which gives us a little bit of physical damage reduction, and it gives us crit strike chance. Rings, I'm using a Dream Fragments for the Cannot Be Frozen, which is very nice. A little bit of maximum mana and mana regen is also very nice for this build. I'm using a rare ring, crit ring, diamond ring, with some int, cast speed, ES, and all res. Haven't finished really messing around with this crafting. Same with my amulet. Got some spell damage, cast speed, crit chance, and ES. I need to get crit multi on there very badly. I don't think you could bench craft it, but I don't know. I don't have level 8 bench crafters yet, or masters yet, so still waiting on that. Quite unsure about that. So, my offenses, or my defenses, I'm capped on everything. 1% overcap because of this node right here on lightning. Natural Calm gives plus 1% maximum lightning resistance. I'm up to 7582 energy shield with a Chevrons. And like I said, I go down to about 5800-ish energy shield with Solaris Lorca, which is completely viable. Nice amount of energy shield. With my current setup, I'm at 14% damage, physical damage reduction, and 7% chance to evade. Whatever. Matter. I've got 159.3 mana regen per second, which is perfect to just spam this skill. It used to be so mana hungry, but now it is not. So, that's that. To gems, I use, in my helm, level 21 Discipline, a level 20 Clarity, tried to get a level 21, haven't been lucky yet, and a new self buff that reserves mana, Herald of Ice. It is pretty damn cool. You get a flat added cold damage to spells and attacks, and when you kill an enemy that shatters, it explodes and deals AoE cold damage. It deals right now at level 18, 117 to 176 cold damage in the little AoE circle that it does. Pretty cool. Very fun to see it go off. It goes off quite a bit. My wand, I'm using Lightning Warp with reduced duration. Got some really fast movement speed with Lightning Warp. I use Vault Discipline for those oh shit moments. I use a cast when damage taken setup with a level 10 cast when damage taken, a level 11 20 quality Enduring Cry, a level 10 20 quality Immortal Call, which helps with any kind of physical incoming damage. I also use a Blood Rage, It doesn't need to be this level, it just needs to be over the level of cast and damage taken for my current Link setup. I just use it for the frenzy charges. I have 3 frenzy charges, so it gives me 15% increased cast speed. All I need. In my shield, I use Enhance with Arctic Armor. Now what this does is it gives me, with the level 4 Enhance, you get 15% movement speed with Arctic Armor. Yes, it's only level 1. I might be playing around with leveling it up. I'm not quite sure right now, which will give me a little bit more damage, resistance or damage reduction. So, not really sure. I'm just using it for movement speed at the moment because of the lack of movement speed while on low life from Lionized Paws. It does give you 40% reduced movement speed. So I'm just using it for movement speed, get around decently with it, increase the cast time and whatever on Lightning Worm. That's that. For my boots, I'm using a reduced mana, blood magic to get haste and purity of elements on my life. Preserve my life to get down to low life status, which then Pain Attunement kicks in, gives me 30% more, which is a multiplier on spell damage. So, to the tree, I go up the spell damage side and get crit chance for spells. Nice. Lots of crit chance all of a sudden in the tree. I go up the right side of the witch and get all the ES nodes and go out and get all of the power charges, like every single one. So I can have a total of 8 power charges. And the increased duration, which allows them to stay a little longer. They're at about 15-16 seconds at the moment. I go over here, get body and soul, some resistances, armor, and ES. Armor gets increased off of the Atziri's Acuity and Doriani's Invitation. I grab all these aura nodes to increase auras. These aura nodes, these aura nodes, these aura nodes. I grab this crit chance, that crit chance, some mana regen. I grab Inner Force to increase discipline and auras and everything like that. All these, I get Path of the Savant, which increases spell damage, max mana, and int, which is more ES, more mana, more damage. I grab Cold-Hearted Calculation, which is more spell damage, mana regen, and int. And I get Assassination, which is crit strike chance and crit multi. Quite nice. Do need to grab a 30 strength and a 30 dex with this build. I'm trying to figure out how to get around doing that, because I'd like those nodes to be in more damage nodes. But hey, is what it is at the moment. Pretty efficient tree. Now I've thought about the idea of dropping the armor ES and going evasion ES, but I'm still quite unsure about that. Don't know if I really want to, or go for more pure ES, something like that. We'll see as this build gets a little more detailed and developed. I'm only currently level 91, so is what it is at the moment. It's killing Atziri. I'm having a blast with it in maps, having a blast with it in party, everything like that. And for Freezing Pulse. So, in groups, I use Freeze Pulse, GMP, Spell Echo, Increase Crit Damage, Power Charge on Crit, and Life Leech. When I am solo, I swap out Power Charge on Crit with added Chaos Damage, and I use Assassin's Mark to get my power charges. So, that's that. I get up to quite a high damage when I'm solo, but obviously a little bit less damage when I'm in party. I have to switch out for Power Charge on Crit. I party with a lot of people that have ridiculous gear running the Findle builds, which are amazing damage, so I don't really usually get the last kill from using Assassin Mark to get my power charge, so I just use Power Charge on Crit when I'm running around. So that's the build. Go check out the build on the forums. I'll post it underneath. Come check out my Twitch channel. I stream quite often right now since I'm not working. But normally between 5 and 9, 10-ish p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So, yeah. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow my Twitch channel. Thank you guys for watching. I will see ya later.